The Arab Empire became one vast empire because of a man named Muhammad, which means in Arabic, highly praised. He was born in the Middle East in 570 AD, almost 600 years after, or 500 years after Christ. He was born to a tribe in Mecca. He claimed to be a descendant of Ishmael. That fits. This Muhammad became the source of the Quran, which is the holy book of Islam. In 622, he made his home in Medina, and it became that date the sort of official date of the start of the Muslim era. In the first 100 years after Muhammad, there was a massive unification of that part of the world as they succumbed to the power of Islam, mostly by the sword. And all wars to bring infidels into submission to Islam were considered to be jihad, holy wars. Muhammad himself killed and robbed in the name of Allah. Convert or die. But there is still that in Islam. We read about it. Still that penchant for death. Islam conquered by the sword. And Islam actually took over the land of Israel. And they held it until, do you know what year? 1948. Muhammad grew up in Mecca. He was a member of a tribe called Quraysh. And in Mecca, they worshipped 360 idols. And also a prominent black stone, supposedly given by Gabriel to Abraham. It was said in the Quran that at the age of 3, Muhammad had an amazing event take place. Gabriel did some surgery, the Archangel Gabriel, split open his chest, reached in, and squeezed all the sin out of his heart, so that Muhammad was sinless. Now, here was Muhammad growing up in Mecca with 360 gods. But Satan was working on him to invent a religion that would end the division and pull everyone together in one great, powerful, massive effort to undo the covenant promise of God. And Muhammad would be the agent. The main idol, however, of the 360 was Allah. The God, Al-Ilah. Guess what? Allah was the moon god. If you see any Islamic symbols, you will see a crescent moon. Allah was the moon god. Some form of the very God that Abraham's family worshipped. That Abraham's father, who was an idolater, worshipped. That the children in the family were named after. Even Terah is a name that connects with the name of the moon god. So, what Muhammad did under the influence of the powers of darkness was take all the elements from the 360 different forms of idol worship, piece them all together into a form of religion, making only one change. He demanded that there was only one God, Allah, the moon god. Where did he get this information? In 610 AD, when he was 40, he began receiving, and I'm reading from the source material, he began receiving frightening revelations accompanied by violent seizures. I've read enough about mediums and demon-possessed people to know that often accompanies that phenomenon. He was not sure whether the visions were divine or whether they were demonic. He didn't know. But his wife told him to submit to the revelations because they were from Gabriel. So for the next 22 years, from 610 to his death in 632, he continued to get these visions and these revelations. And later on, first they were passed down orally, and later on they were written by his followers from memory, making the Quran. And later added to the Quran was the Hadith, which is other teaching and tradition. Muhammad built his whole system of religion on all these demonic forms of idolatry, adapting all the forms and features of idol worship with one new thing. And that was only the moon god Allah was true God and all others were not. And worship of all the other gods was forbidden. And they were going to bring people into submission to that or kill them. And I want to remind you, Satan is happy as a polytheist and he's also happy as a monotheist. As long as it's the wrong God. Islam is monotheistic heathenism. Now I want to make a footnote here. You hear about American black Muslim movement. You might wonder how that fits in. True Islam will tell you that is not Islam. That is not true Islam. What is the American black Muslim movement that was begun by Elijah Muhammad? It is a strange hybrid. Elijah Muhammad came across the teaching of a bizarre person named Wallace Fard, F-A-R-D. And he took this bizarre teaching of this man, Wallace Fard, and he mingled it with, get this, teaching from the Watchtower Society of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And he created a hybrid, which is called the black Muslim faith. Here they call it the black nation of Islam. It is not true Islam. And he said that this Wallace Fard was Allah. And Louis Farrakhan, who's the leader of that movement, says he is the fulfillment of Isaiah 9:6. He is the mighty God, the everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. That is to Islam what the Jehovah's Witness cult is to Christianity. So I just want you to understand that we're talking here about the true historic Islam.